Hello, tomato growers. This is Ray Kruse, your tomato growing mentor from the ICU Extension Outreach Office at Dubuque County. And our tomatoes are looking just fabulous. We've got great growth. We've got a set of nice tomatoes coming on, and things are looking great, right? Well, if we come down here to these plants here, something is missing. Something's looking a little bare. And let's take a closer look. Can you guess what that is? We have some missing leaves here. It makes you wonder why? What's going on? Well, if we get closer to the inside of the plant here, this is a very classic result of a very classic tomato insect called the tomato hornworm. And we might not be able to find the hornworm up front right away, but if we look to the inside of the plant, we can usually find, you can see these little black spots here, you can usually find some little presents left behind by this insect. And if we were in the bug world, we'd call this frass. And this frass is very classic of this bug, and we'll check him out in a second because yesterday that bug was on this plant here, and that little bugger, he moved all the way down here to a brand new plant, which is really frustrating. But I wanted to show you to this bug. And there we are right there, the tomato hornworm. And even though there aren't many out here, you probably won't find many on your plant out in the garden, or plants out in the garden, but this larger insect, you can see right here for his scale as to how big he is to my finger, almost the size of my finger, they can cause a lot of damage in a quick hurry just from a couple out here. And the solution to fixing this problem is just picking them off and smushing them and getting rid of them. And if we were in a commercial farm, a farmer wouldn't usually have time to scout an entire planting of tomatoes. They'd have to resort to sprays. But being that we're in the garden, it's just a matter of picking these little buggers off and smushing them and getting rid of them, and problem solved. It's just finding them, and they really blend in well. I bet you can't hardly even tell where that little bugger is now, but he's down there. So another thing to point out too with our tomatoes in Dubuque County is once in a while, and this is a tomato here with some really good fruit set on it, once in a while we'll have tomatoes that are coming on, our first couple fruits. This is a beautiful one, by the way. We'll have a big black rotten spot in the bottom. And what that is blossom end rot. Usually this is something we see in potted tomatoes, and it's an indication of a lack of calcium. And in potted tomatoes, it's hard to keep consistent water with your tomatoes enough so that they can keep the calcium going to the fruit. And oftentimes we'll see blossom end rot. Once in a while I'll see this out in gardens, but it's usually only the first or the second cluster of the tomatoes, and they usually grow out of it. And I really don't have any solution why, because our soils in Dubuque County usually have more than enough calcium than what they would ever need to grow tomatoes. So I don't know why. I don't have any explanation for that, but I have had clients come in that have had problems with blossom end rot on their first couple clusters, and then they eventually grow out of it. But otherwise, our tomatoes are just looking fabulous. The little bit of disease that we have here on our heirloom tomatoes here isn't progressing too much, but at the same time, we really haven't had any rain. It's kind of dry out here. But otherwise, the tomatoes are just looking fabulous. So with this, I will update you in another 3 to 4 weeks as our tomatoes ripen on things that we can do with them and picking them and things like that. So this is Ray Kruse, your tomato growing mentor with the ICU Extension Outreach Office of Dubuque County. Happy growing, everybody.